Hello you guys, it is Autumn here, and I'm coming at you guys with a nice little fun story for this week. And so today's story is called Jesus is Betrayed. And Jesus was betrayed by one of his closest friends, which really hurts. Jesus had a good friend named Peter, who was there when Jesus healed and made miracles happen. Jesus liked Peter so much he gave Peter the nickname, the Rock, Jesus said. Jesus had another friend named Judas. Jesus, Peter, and Judas, and the other disciples spent lots of time together. They were all together when Jesus told them that his life had to end. It was sad and hard time for Jesus and his friends. Jesus felt so sad that he went to a quiet place in a garden and prayed. "Please, God," Jesus prayed, "make me strong. Help me trust you." Jesus asked the disciples to come to the garden and stay awake while he prayed, but they fell asleep. They fell asleep. They got too tired. "Wake up, wake up, wake up," Jesus told them, disciples, 3 of them. When Jesus finished praying, it was time for them to go and to face hard things. Even though Jesus had many friends, he had some bad enemies too. Some people were scared that Jesus would change the world too much with love. Judas got scared too. He let Jesus down. Judas told some of Jesus' enemies where Jesus was. When soldiers came to the garden, Judas kissed Jesus on the cheeks to show them who they were looking for. The soldiers took Jesus away. Judas and Peter ran away and hid. They were so scared. Later, Peter waited outside the place where Jesus was on trial. A girl saw Peter and said, "He's a friend of Jesus. He's in trouble too." Peter wanted to help his friend, Jesus, but he was scared. He was so scared. So he pretended he didn't know Jesus. "I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him," Peter said. His lie made him feel even worse inside. Peter ran away again. He cried and cried. Peter felt so sad for Jesus. Peter felt very, very, very sorry. But Jesus knew that Peter loved him. Jesus knew that Peter was his friend. That's why he had given Peter such a special job. The Rock became a strong leader in the church. He told many, many people about his best friend, Jesus. "I know him, I know him, I know him." Peter told everyone, and that was the truth. And so thank you guys so much for coming and listening to me and listening to my fun little story. I hope you guys have fun, and I hope it starts to get a little bit less boring and a lot more sunny. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Autumn. We're going to continue with our resurrection eggs. My daughter and I took this egg carton and I used some crayon watercolors where I drew on it with crayons to make a rainbow, and then she took water and painted/dumped it and then spread it around, so we got a cool looking rainbow on our homemade resurrection carton. So we've done the first 3 eggs. We're gonna move to the 4th one today. Autumn just read about when Jesus was arrested. So in the 4th egg, we have the praying hands. Jesus was arrested in the garden. So these praying hands remind us that Jesus went to talk to God and put his hands, his life in God's hands, because he trusted God. So he went to talk to him. He prayed to him in the garden before he was arrested. Some ideas for praying hands is if you have a Polly Pocket or a Lego man, you could put their hands together and put them in an egg. Otherwise, fold your hands and have your parents take a picture and then print that off. Otherwise, of course, draw some hands or print off some hands on the computer of them praying to remind you of when Jesus was arrested. Some kits, I have seen a rooster in one of these to be reminded of one of Jesus's friends who said he wouldn't deny Jesus, but he did by the time that the rooster crowed. So that's something else you could put in an egg to replace one of these coming up, or replace a different one to remind us of the story and that part that Autumn just read us. So The next one, so after Jesus was arrested, they were not very nice to him. They hit him and he got a lot of scars. So this is something they used to not be very nice to Jesus. They hurt him with this. So something you could use to remind you of how mean they were to Jesus is a string or some type of yarn. Another option for this egg could be a Band-Aid to remind us how bad Jesus was hurt and how bad they treated Jesus. In the sixth egg, again, they were not nice to Jesus. They were making fun of him. And King of the Jews, King of the Jews, they mocked him, they made fun of him, and gave him a crown, but not a very nice crown. They took a crown of vines and thorns and put it on his head. Something you could use if you go find maybe a thorn outside on some type of bush. Put that in here. Otherwise, to remind you of the crown they made. Otherwise, maybe you have some kind of small crown lying around you could put in here. The next egg, we have some nails. Mine's in the shape of a cross. You can just put some nails in the next egg to remind us that Jesus was nailed to the cross. I'm going to read this part of the story from the Spark Story Bible. The soldiers nailed Jesus' hands and feet to the cross. They raised Jesus' cross up on a hill between two other men. The other men were thieves, and they were being crucified too. One of the men was angry with Jesus. If you're a powerful king, can't you save yourself? And why don't you save us too while you're at it? The man spat at Jesus. But the other thief believed in Jesus. He shouted back, "Don't you know who this is? This is God's son. He hasn't done anything wrong. We are being punished for our mistakes. But Jesus shouldn't even be here." The man turned to Jesus and asked, "Will you take me to heaven with you?" Jesus looked at the man and loved him. Jesus told him, "Yes, today we will be in heaven together." So another option for an egg, if you want to replace one of these, would to put three small crosses in one of them. You could find some small crosses from necklaces, or you could easily make crosses using some sticks or other objects around your house to remind you of the two thieves that were next to Jesus on the cross. Our final egg today is a die. The soldiers took all of Jesus' belongings and split it up to keep them for themselves. Yeah. Well, Jesus had this really nice coat, this purple cloak, and they didn't want to rip it in half. So the soldiers took some die and they rolled them to see who got the highest number, got to keep the cloak of Jesus's. So again, not very nice, just taking his belongings, not even caring about Jesus on the cross, who is suffering for us and forgiving all our sins. And here they are playing a game to see who gets his coat. So we're going to continue with the story tomorrow. We're going to open 3 more eggs tomorrow, and then on Easter morning, we are going to open the final egg. So I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you tomorrow.